At the end of a long, hard day of work, there's nothing better than a slice of cake. But there's something that I want to change about this cake before I eat it. Let me open the box and show you. As you can see, this cake has a lot of chocolate on it, but none on the top. The top is entirely covered in icing. What I want to do is make a nice border around the cake by taking some chocolate chips and putting them on the outside edges. But I don't know how many chocolate chips I'm going to need. I do know that each chocolate chip is 1 centimeter long. So I just need to figure out how to measure the outside distance around the outside of the cake and then use that measurement in centimeters to figure out how many chocolate chips I need. But how do you measure around the outside of something? In my opinion, the best way to think about measuring around the outside of something is to think of yourself as an ant walking around the outside of a painting. In this case, we're going to imagine that we're a red ant walking around the outside of a painting of some witches feeding an aardvark. This painting is by Leonora Carrington, and she is one of my favorite artists. Anyways, here's the ant, and let's follow its journey. First it walks along the top, then it turns and goes along the side, and then turns again and goes along the bottom, and then turns again and goes back up the other side. There! The ant has completed a journey around the painting. If that ant were measuring as it went along, it would be measuring something called the perimeter. That's the measurement of the entire distance around the outside of a shape. Perhaps an easier way for us to measure the perimeter of a shape is to think about it in terms of pretzel sticks. I really like pretzel sticks. I mean, I really like paintings by Leonora Carrington, but you can't eat paintings by Leonora Carrington unless you want to get kicked out of the art gallery. Anyways, here are some pretzel sticks, and they make a shape. Now, some of the sticks are on the inside of the shape, and some of those sticks are on the outside. Let's see if you can figure out which are which. What about this one? Is it on the inside of the shape or the outside? That's right, it's on the inside. Okay, what about this one? Is it on the inside or the outside? Yes, it's on the outside. Okay, good job. What about this stick? Is it on the inside of the shape or the outside? Yes, it's on the outside. Now, when we're measuring the perimeter of this shape, we only want to measure the sticks that are on the outside. And one way that we can do that is to just eat the ones that are on the inside. So let's do that now. Nom 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 nom. There, now we don't need to worry about counting them. And now we can count only the sticks on the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the perimeter of this shape is 10 pretzel sticks long. What about this shape? This time I'm not going to eat the pretzel sticks on the inside, I'm just going to ignore them when I'm counting the sticks. What's the perimeter of this shape? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This shape is 7 pretzel sticks in perimeter. And finally, let's try this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh my gosh. I think I made a mistake. I think I may have counted some of the same sticks twice. Oh, when there are so many sticks, sometimes it gets hard to make sure that you only count each of them once. One thing that you can do to avoid this problem is to write the numbers on the sticks as you count them. That way you can keep track of what you've counted and what you haven't. It would look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 9. There we go. That way I didn't overcount. So in this case, the perimeter of this shape is 9 pretzel sticks. Now it's your turn. I want you to use your eyes to count the number of sticks on the outside of each of these shapes and then tell me what is the perimeter. Press pause to try that out and then press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, let's check your answers. On the left-hand side, we have 6 sticks on the outside, so the perimeter is 6 sticks long. On the right-hand side, we have 10 sticks on the outside, so the perimeter of the shape is 10 sticks long. But what if instead of having individual sticks, we have a shape that's a complete enclosed line? How would we measure the length then? Well, I can use my ruler and I can tell that each of these squares is 1 centimeter long. So I can just count how many squares there are along the line, and that can tell me how many centimeters it is. So let's do that, counting each of the squares along each of the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the perimeter is 8 centimeters. Now it's your turn, and I'm going to give you a challenge. As you can see, instead of giving you squares, I'm giving you triangles, but the idea is still the same. If you have your triangular graph paper, copy the shapes onto your triangular graph paper. If you don't, just copy them onto your blank paper best as you can. And then count the outside line segments to tell me how many centimeters is the perimeter of each shape. Press pause to try that out, draw those shapes, and then find the perimeter, and then press play to check your answers. Okay, it's answer checking time. On the left-hand side, at the top, we've got a shape that is 8 centimeters in perimeter. On the right-hand side, we've got a shape that is 8 centimeters in perimeter as well, even though they are different shapes. They can still have the same perimeter. And on the bottom, we have a shape that is 12 centimeters in perimeter. Good job, everyone. Now that we know how to find the perimeter of enclosed shapes, let's see if we can figure out a way to do it faster. Instead of counting individual bits of each side, I'm going to measure the entire length of each side and write that down as I go along. Then at the end, I'm going to add it up. It looks something like this. Here I am as an ant again, and I'm going to walk around, and every time I finish walking along a side, I'm going to write down its length. First we go, how many centimeters? That's 3 centimeters. Then I'm going to turn and then go down, 2 centimeters. And then I'm going to turn again and then go sideways 3 centimeters. And then I'm going to turn again and go back up 2 centimeters. So I walked the entire length of the shape, writing down the length of each side. Now, how am I going to add those up to find out what they equal? Well, sometimes it can get confusing and you lose track of which numbers you've added and which ones you haven't. So when I need to figure out a way to get around that, I write little bubbles at the top or just write the numbers at the top so I can keep track of what I've added so far. For example, 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, so I've gone that far. And now 5 plus 3 is 8, and then 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay, so that's my answer. That way I can add up as I go along and not lose track of which numbers I've added and which ones I haven't. Now it's your turn. I want you to add the sides of these shapes to find the perimeter. In this case, I've already written the measurements for you just to make it a little bit easier for the first go. Press pause to write down your answers, and then press play to check them to see if they're right. All right, let's check your answers. Starting on the left, we've got a pretty simple shape. It has 4 sides, and each side is 2 centimeters, so that's going to be 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, let's add it up. So 2 plus 2 is 4, and then 4 plus 2 is 6, and then 6 plus 2 is 8. So the whole thing is 8 centimeters long. Excellent. On the right-hand side, we've got a shape that's a bit more complex, but I think we can do it. We just need to add up one side at a time. So that's 4 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1. Make sure you get all those sides. Okay, so let's add it up as we go along. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. And then 13 plus 1 is 14. So that shape has a perimeter of 14 centimeters. Okay, now we're going to have some more difficult questions. This time I want you to copy down the shapes and measure the lengths of the sides on your own. Then you can add up those sides to find out the perimeter. When I give you the answers, I'm going to start on the top side and then move to the right side, going all the way around just like I did with the ant. So if your addition sentences end up being a little bit different from mine, that's okay as long as you get the same answer as me. But I would suggest you start by adding the side on the top and then work your way around. So copy those shapes, press pause to figure out the perimeter of each, and then press play when you're ready to check your answers. Let's go. Okay, it's answer checking time. Starting on the left-hand side on the top, we've got a shape that has 14 centimeters in perimeter. So I've added up all the sides, 4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3, and that equals 14. On the right, we've got a shape that is 12 centimeters in perimeter, and all I did was add up those sides, 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2, and that equals 12. On the bottom left, we have a shape that is 18 centimeters in perimeter, and all I did was add up all those sides. It's a bit tricky because there are some interior sides as well. So 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4 equals 18 centimeters. And finally, on the right-hand side, we've got a T shape, and that T shape is 14 centimeters in perimeter, and all I did was add up all those sides, including those itsy-bitsy 1 centimeter sides. And that is 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1. And that adds up to 14 centimeters. Now, if you didn't get these answers, make sure you remeasure the length of each of the sides and try and figure out which one that you missed or which one that you got wrong. Once you figure that out, you are officially a perimeter expert. Well done. Now I know how to measure the perimeter of my cake. I need to measure around all of the outer sides of the cake. So let's get my tape measure and find out what those sides are. Now this side is 22 centimeters long. This smaller side over here is 8 centimeters. This longer side is 22 centimeters again. And this smaller side is 8 centimeters. So that's 22 plus 8 plus 22 plus 8. All right, so 22 plus 8 is 30, plus 22 is 52, and then plus 8 more is 60. So I'm going to need 60 chocolate chips to put around the outside here. Well, let's just put them on right now. Ready, set, go! Well, that looks just delicious. I'm going to get my knife and cut a slice so I can eat it right now. Now that I've measured the perimeter of my cake, it's your turn to do some measuring of your own. In your classroom or in your house, get a tape measure or a ruler and measure the perimeter of objects that are around you. Make sure to record the length of each of the sides and then show how you added them up together to make your total perimeter. Happy measuring! I'm going to start eating my cake. That's a tasty perimeter.